Welcome
to Film Shapes,
the podcast.
Your mission. Should you choose to accept it? I wonder, did you ever choose not to?
Okay, hi everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible Fallout. We're here with Roly, once again.
Hello.
And today a special guest, Ruby.
Hello.
How you going?
Very, very good.
Okay, nice one. Now, we've all seen this film, I hope, recently.
I saw it last night.
Brilliant. I saw it a few weeks ago. My memory might be a bit foggy.
Yeah, my wife refused to see this film with me.
Why?
Because it's got Tom Cruise in it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's how far I had no choice but to go and see it on my own at the cinema, which is something I'm not used to doing at all.
It's actually a huge vibe alone, though, right?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. But you know what happens when you're at the cinema on your own as well? You notice the other people that are on their own.
Oh, the other...
And you kind of connect with them in a strange way.
The other Billy No Mates. Why didn't you go and sit with them?
That could have been weird. It was a pretty empty cinema, I must say.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it's. I think it's into its like fourth week or fifth week or something. Anyway, this is the sixth Mission Impossible film. In this iteration, there was a TV movie, and it's based on the 60s to 70s TV show, as you all know.
Of course.
It's the second one to be written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Usually they just go one for each one. It was Brian De Palma doing the first one, John Woo the second, J.J. Abrams the third, and Brad Bird the fourth, and now McQuarrie for the last two.
Abrams was involved in this one, though, I see. He was a producer.
Yes, it's his production company. Does them now, I think, yeah.
Oh, such knowledge.
Such research.
It's called research.
Yeah. What do we think? Ruby?
I have to be honest, I hadn't seen probably the last 2 or 3 films.
Okay.
So I just went to see this one on a whim, and I really enjoyed it.
Why did you give up after number 3 or 2 or whatever it was?
I don't know. I'm not really a huge action fan. But it's interesting, Rolly, that you said your wife didn't want to go because of Tom Cruise. Because I feel like Tom Cruise is like a huge draw card for me. Like that's
Yeah. Look, I understand that, and I think, I said, well, what do you think? Do you think he's a bad actor? And she's just like, well, no, he's just Tom Cruise. Like his face annoys me or something.
Yeah. I'm with her there.
I think he's a good actor, though. I think he does certain things really well. Yeah, and I think he's good in action.
He does the running and the jumping really well.
He loves running in this film.
Apparently, this running scene, if all accounts are to be believed, is about 1 or 2 seconds longer than the record running scene from like number 2 or number 3. They wanted to make it sure that it was a little bit longer than the last one, or the last longest one.
That's funny. Like, one thing I'll say in this film's favour is when I came out of the cinema, like, I did have an energy. Like, I felt a little bit like I wanted to run
jump
across
off a building,
top and just jump off and do some parkour or something. I felt that energy coming out of the cinema.
He fucked his ankle doing this, broke it, in fact. So I don't know where.
Well, look, he's mid-50s. He's, he's doing his thing.
Yep.
I don't know.
So your wife doesn't like Cruise still to this day?
No, but she will appreciate the odd film he's in. What was that one where he gets killed all the time, the science fiction one? She really likes that.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
that's and
a good
it is
one,
a good
actually.
film.
Yeah, that's good. I used to hate him, and I'd never go to a film with him in it. I thought he was just a hand actor and a real hammy, trying to use his boyish charm all the time. Well, that's good. But a bit like another Tom Hanks, he's starting to grow on me. Like, in their old age, they started to get better, I think. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I'll read just a little quote from a review I read, which I wrote down, and I'm curious to get your response to this. And it's just describing Tom Cruise as being, quote, enthralled by the dream of his own magnetism. And I just wonder,
what I love about
could I get
him.
you to respond to that then, Ruby?
That's articulated in a way that I couldn't manage, but that speaks to me. Like, that's what's great about him. His like self-love or something.
Oh,
yeah, right. Yeah. So you're actually
I feel that from him very strongly when I watch him.
He's mega confident.
Do you feel the magnetism though, or do you just enjoy watching his own obsession with his own magnetism.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know that he actually has magnetism, but he believes so strongly that he does.
Yeah.
That he does.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a self.
Yeah.
That's his,
I think you're right.
That's his shtick. Yeah,
He's
I like
basically
that.
self-sourcing, isn't he?
Yeah. And extremely successfully.
Like a pudding.
He's nailing it,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
So just on the movie for a minute as well.
Sure.
Because I haven't seen the previous Mission Impossible films either.
Yeah,
but
none of them. Get out
I
of
might
it.
have seen the first one or something.
Okay.
But this kind of... Is this a Mission Impossible film or is it a superhero? It feels a bit like a superhero film to me. Like the level of ridiculousness of some of his...
They do amp it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's in keeping with the other ones. There's always a heist of some sort to do. And this one didn't really have one except extracting the that weird prisoner guy who speaks this.
Oh, he was...
Yeah.
So it sort of kept a formula. I thought it was a bit Bondish in that there's weird.
Have all the other films been such a one-man show as this?
He's put together a sort of team. I don't want to spoil the first one, but if that's 96, I think. Basically, his team is destroyed in that film, so he sort of becomes the head of that team then. So yeah, I suppose it is. It's all about Cruise. He gets the majority of the screen time, but Simon Pegg's plays a part. Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson in the new ones. Jeremy Renner was in the last two, I believe, but he got shunted for this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any other characters stand out for you?
I think this film, Henry Cavill was pretty interesting.
The CIA sidekick guy?
The mustache guy,
What do you think of Mustache Guy?
No strong reaction.
No strong
I found him kind of appealing.
Yeah. How do you mean?
Well, the bathroom fight scene.
Oh, that's great.
When he takes
and
he starts laying into the guy from the he's doing the boxing thing.
If you watch that again, he's basically reloading his arms like a pump action shotgun.
It feels a bit like that. I felt like he was really bringing some heavy masculinity to that much needed.
It's almost
scene.
It's almost like, and now this, I don't know if Cruise has done this on purpose, because he has a say in anything he does in these films especially. But it's almost like he's sort of taken a back seat as far as the masculinity goes. This guy's a fucking massive alpha, huge, muscly dude, and a bit of a blunt instrument. So instead of, doing what they wanted to do in the bathroom, he just fucking smacks him in the head with the computer. And he said, you didn't use that. He said, I didn't need to. Look, it's easy, bump. And he's just smacked him out. I don't know, maybe this was... But apparently the Jeremy Renner character in the last two was sort of possibly there to maybe take over from Cruise if he ever decided to jump. But that fell away. Maybe it's Cavill, even though he's dead. Maybe he can come back.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing that. Well, he's on the wrong side for a start, ultimately. But I don't know. One thing I find with this film, very much so, and other films in the genre, it's like it's a bit like a fast food sort of food chain burger. Like it's quite enjoyable while you're in it, and there's an immediate sense of satisfaction afterwards. But maybe an hour later you're hungry again, and it doesn't quite fill this void. Is there more to this film?
No,
there's not. Is that all it is? Is it just a burger? Like what about all the because it's a bit of a morality play in pieces as well. It's like,
according
how far are you prepared to go?
Yeah, but that's kind of like a lot of these things. It's lip service, I think. According to the director, people this film and the last one, if the occasional person slags it off, he says, "Well, fuck, what do you want? It's just an entertainment. We're just trying to entertain. We're not trying to do anything deep."
Who said that?
Macquarie, the writer-director. So, yeah, I think they just want to make people go, "Ooh, look at that! Oh, did he really hit that car? Oh, shit, that's amazing!"
And I think they did that super successfully.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I have a question about the masks, the rubber masks.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Is the movie set in the future? Because
no.
I don't feel like the rubber mask technology is there yet. To like the scene where he's fully convinced that that's the bad guy.
Yes.
And then, like, whips off the mask and it's Simon Pegg. I'm like, bullshit on that one. Calling
bullshit?
That's where the superhero thing, that's where it feels a bit like a superhero movie, because they have these abilities that are beyond the normal.
Yeah.
You know?
That's been happening since the first one's in 96, and even then, like, surely, even now, you'd be going, well, that's it. But 96? No fucking way.
Did they in 96, they probably had touch screen phones, you know?
I watched that one again recently. He dials up, like, he uses the internet, he uses some sort of old archaic page. It looks really weird. It's very dated, but only 96, 22 years ago. So.
That's great.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think that even happened in the TV shows in the 60s and 70s. So,
the rubber mask.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not future set, but I guess it's very, supposedly, very isolated technology that only the IMF have.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Isolated technology. There's your answer, Ruby. Satisfied?
Why didn't I think of that? Yeah.
I've got a couple of points I wanted to bring up. Could you guys follow the storyline?
I thought I did well at first, and then during that halfway, there's so much double crossing and plot twists in this that I did lose it, and I was kicking myself for not getting which one's Lane again? Hang on, who's he talking about? Oh no, he's and I'm still trying to work out Ethan. Right. Oh yeah, okay, that's Tom. But
right. Well, Lane was in the previous film, so he's sort of a return baddie. If you remembered that one, you might have had a hand. But what the White Widow?
The biggest problem for me in terms of... Because I don't really mind so much if I lose the plot. I'm still having a good time. It's still really actiony, really buzzy. Thank you. But the biggest problem for me is that... So there was, like, his wife, or his ex-wife, not really...
his ex-wife. Michelle Monaghan's character. Yeah.
But then there was also the other female spy, the one that was on the motorbike in that scene in Paris.
Rebecca.
And for the whole movie, I really thought that was his wife. I thought that was the same character.
Well, they do.
They look super
They've
similar.
got it. Yeah, well, that's just his type, isn't it?
Maybe.
That's.
Wait, hang on. But you remember either the wife or the other spy from previous films?
No. Just that because the wife was in. There was like the beginning scene.
The beginning scene. I did get her mixed up. I thought the spy one was the wife from the beginning scene.
Yeah, and then at the end I was like, what?
But she's been, so if you know your mission history, I suppose, you'd know that's Michelle Monaghan, his wife. He had to sort of hide her, and he had to sort of separate from her because she was in danger all the time and stuff. So I think she's been in about 3 or 4 of the other ones as well.
Yeah, okay.
So, maybe that you needed a bit of...
That's actually just my fault for not
watching the others. Yeah. Yes, purely your fault.
Got it.
But that's the sort of thing that happens, though, when you have these kind of...
Yes,
these
series.
Where Tom's, I'm imagining, getting a bit of a say in the cast, and he's got a certain taste in what his female counterparts are going to look like.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's a question. How much control does Tom have in these movies?
I think now that his mate, Chris McQuarrie, is directing and writing, I'd say 95% of control. Yeah. I think nothing... Maybe if the studio wanted something, or if Macquarie himself wanted something, they'd have to talk Tom around, I'd say. It seems like that. Listening to these... I've been listening to these spoiler podcasts from the Empire podcast.
Yep.
Jesus, they're quite convoluted, and it's like the plot of this film. It's like 6 hours worth of them.
How do they treat Tom? Do they like Tom over at Empire? Or?
Yes, I think so, yeah. And it's mainly an interview with Macquarie himself. He wants to sit down and just chew out the fat.
He's a hard person or character not to... I'm talking about the actor, Tom Cruise, not to have a certain amount of respect for in terms of how he's done his...
Yeah, true. I mean, he does... Apparently, he did almost all of the stunts in these in the last two. You can't stop him from doing that, apparently, even though it's like he broke his ankle in this one. He had some injuries in the last one.
Mind you, when you say stunts and, he's hanging off the side of the cliff, I imagine that's actually he's inside a studio 3 feet off the ground climbing up a fabric wall,
Well, yeah. I mean, but apparently the chase in Paris on the motorbike, they had a rig lined up that didn't work. So Cruise, this is according to Macquarie, Cruise just said, look, we got no time. I'll just do the riding. So he did all that riding helmetless by himself. So, I think he's a bit of a nutter.
Yeah,
in a good way. Yeah.
Fair enough. Go, Tom. Go further.
Sure.
You also, I was reading your blog post about this, Grant.
Thank you.
You actually read that?
Yeah, look.
Nobody else does. Thank you.
You would have noticed you got one hit yesterday on the...
Oh,
anyway.
really? Thank you. Thanks.
No, but you said that he seemed to have aged 6 years in 22.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, he doesn't look 52 or 3 or whatever he is.
I reckon, I think he looks significantly older, but that's great. Like, he looks great. Like,
He doesn't look plastic.
His nose has... He's got a completely different nose now. Like, it's doubled in size. And he has this very charming... Did you notice the extremely charming dimple in the centre of his nose?
No.
No, I didn't
Wow,
notice that.
you missed it. You saw it last night and you don't even remember the
I
dimple.
didn't, and it would have been big too. It would have been at least 2 feet across. Some of those scenes.
Yeah, so he's aged well.
Well, it's interesting
fair
to
enough.
compare him to Alec Baldwin in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be a similar age, wouldn't they?
I think Baldwin's a
Baldwin's
touch
gotta be
older.
older.
Yeah, he'd be a bit older. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
What did you think of Baldy here?
Baldy. He's always. Not much, to be honest. He's always manageable and serviceable.
Yeah.
He does the job.
Fair enough.
Serviceable.
Yeah.
That's not complimentary, is
No,
it?
it's not. I mean,
He's solid.
solid. That's probably
Solid.
right. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing much. I mean, Angela Bassett was in it too. I think they're all sort of taking back seats, really, to the cruise man. You've always got to get the others to do something. I think that's why it was 2.5 hours long or such. Yeah.
These cities were well showcased, I think.
Yeah.
Really did make me want to go and just, reenact one of those running scenes in Paris, just for fun.
Yeah, London running, bike chase in Paris. Yeah. And the Hindu Kush apparently was New Zealand.
Is that right?
Yeah, they filmed it in New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wanted to do that helicopter chase, and no other country would allow that. Apparently, New Zealand just said, cheers, brutes, all right."
There was this. I don't know how much time we've got left on this, but this was a film that kept me guessing, and I think that was what I really enjoyed about it was all those double crosses and things, and the revelations, and how's he going to get from one helicopter into the next helicopter when he's got to get the secret device, and then you realise he's hanging a dangly bag, and you think obviously, but then that doesn't work.
Yeah,
and sorry, slightly spoiler here, but it's vague enough. Hopefully that you don't know what I'm talking about.
it's okay. We spoil it. It's okay.
But it leads you down a path, and then gives you an answer, and then pulls that answer away and leaves you going,
What happened
the
there?
fuck's going to happen next?
Well, that was like the beginning where they've got that doctor in the hospital bed. I actually thought, fucking great. They've nuclear bombed a few cities. That's pretty good. What a high stakes game this film's going to be.
High stakes.
Actually, we'll pull this.
That was such a cute moment, though.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it.
And Tom, and again, sorry, Tom acting within his acting.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing Tom act within the act,
Yes, but this is something that I kind of alluded to on the blog post. Thank you, Ruby, and Roly, you can read that later if you want.
I'm all right.
Where I think in '96, in the first film, and I watched it again just to make sure I was thinking in the right way about this, there was a scene where we knew something as the audience, and Cruise is finally understanding it in the scene, and he's got to sort of explain to the viewer that he's finally getting it, but he still has to hide his thoughts from the guy across the table, and he just didn't fucking sell it. I was like, what are you making those faces? What are you trying to? What does that mean? What does that face mean? I couldn't get it. But in this film, he's actually, like, when he meets his wife again at the end of the film, a young Cruise would have totally fucking hammed that up, but older Cruise played it quite neatly. I thought that was a nice little three-way with the new husband and Cruise and the ex-wife. So.
Maybe he's been taking some lessons from Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
Baldy's like, Tom, you don't always have to oversell.
Tom, it's too much. That's too much, Tom.
Just be silent.
I wonder how many people could tell Cruise that's too much.
Not many.
Not many. Yes, maybe Baldy could have a crack.
Yeah. Oh, apparently he's friends with Ben Stiller as well.
Who? Cruise?
Well, I feel like Ben Stiller's not ever going to tell him not to ham it up.
No, Stiller won't.
Do you think?
Stiller.
That's ham on toast
That's-
right
yeah,
there.
I'd
well,
like to see
exactly.
Stiller direct the next film.
I'd watch
or
it.
take
for sure.
over from Cruise.
Apparently, Ben Stiller, when he directs, he actually like grabs the actors and says, "No, stand here," and
Really?
physically moves them.
You're in the wrong spot.
They don't like it.
Who was it that said, acting's not too difficult, you just have to say the lines and not trip over the furniture? It's Michael Caine or someone like that.
I like Jerry Seinfeld's. So, rolling, action, say what we told you to say.
Say what we told you to say. Yeah. It's simple. It must be a simple game. Why don't we all do it?
Let's give it a go.
You got anything else to add, Ruby?
No, I think.
Would you see a seventh?
I actually think I would now go back and watch the earlier ones. Yeah, I think.
I reckon they've. Yeah, there are bits of each one that are quite watchable. Number one.
Only bits, though?
Yeah, well, number two's a bit nutty, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
A bit over the top. Number three, I can't even remember. 4 and 5 started to get a bit more...
like silly?
Like the latest one.
Yeah.
That's where they sort of changed a bit. Yeah, I mean, there's some good scenes in the latest
Are you
two.
Are you saying it's not really worth it to go back?
To go back and see 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
There's no through line. It's just always a different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, apart
Yeah.
from the wife subplot. But
Yeah, I don't know if I would go back, but I enjoyed this film. I'm not a super fanboy of Tom Cruise as maybe this is sound. I'm a bit worried now that I've just been talking up Tom Cruise for this whole episode.
Yeah,
but,
well, yeah, you didn't mention his dimple at least.
I think he's a good actor.
His nose
his nose dimple. Sorry.
I think he's got, when he's got if he's got too much control, then perhaps he's in danger of going down
of killing himself, possibly. Well, if they do a seventh one, these two together, Macquarie and Cruise, I think that he's going to have to actually die on set to amp up the...
Wow.
Yeah, I think that'll be it.
Wow.
Well, will he just prefer to take the franchise down with him?
With him. Oh, well, that'll be the last one. If he dies on set of Mission Impossible, Cruise's Ghost or something, that'll be the end of it.
But
It'd be an interesting way to go out, wouldn't it, on film?
Can we end with that quote again? I just love it.
Go on.
Enthralled by the dream of his own magnetism.
Nice one. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.